focus and the thrust of development in this society is very much at the material development, focusing on material prosperity. It's actually happening at the expense of our spiritual prosperity and our spiritual development. Through joy and happiness, you see not only creativity and originality of Pacific peoples, but you see unity in diversity demonstrated. Our young people, our youth especially, they play a vital role, a central role in organizing the Fono.
We Pacific Islanders, we're more of the hands-on people, so we need to, we know what we have to do, we just need to get out there and do it.
We purposely appointed at least 2 young people to be part of the task force that organizes the Fono every year. This is preparing for the future. Our youth will be the leaders of tomorrow. And one way of acquiring the knowledge and the skills of our cultures and take it forward to the next few centuries is actually for the youth themselves to participate and to lead from the front. For Pacific peoples especially, this is very important because in 20 years' time, this is Census New Zealand stats that I'm quoting, 40% of the New Zealand workforce will be of Pacific and Maori ethnic background. So it's very important that our young people, our youth today, not only are educated, but also are great leaders, and they provide great service for the community, not just the Baha'i community, more importantly for the rest of society.
In the Baha'i faith, we have the principle of unity and diversity. So we accept the differences in cultures, but have to be in accordance with the Baha'i faith.
I am White Buffalo from the Blackfoot Nations in Canada. All my relations. I really appreciate your welcome, and I'm really glad to be a part of this part of the world and to see your culture. It's a very special thing.
Coming to the Fono, we don't have to forget about all our Pacific Island cultures. We have to maintain some of our cultures which are in line with the Baha'i faith, like language, education of the children.
You must remember that dental clinic, it's a place for you to come to check your teeth, and the importance of your teeth to you, to chew your food, and to make you look beautiful when you smile. When everyone lives the free onenesses, we'll have world unity.
Start between what?
3, 2, 3. We are teaching the Baha'i community, the women, how to weave a garment, and this is the way the Tubagans weave their garments, like this, and what is We usually use the garlands for dancing. This is our cultural costumes. Dancing or meeting some people coming to the island, you put on their head.
Special occasion.
On special occasions too.
The Fono, this event is for me, it's actually the first time of me attending this event. For me, it's all the Polynesian islands coming together as one, and we just showcase our culture. Yes,
just we all come in as one, like we're all Baha'i. Yeah, just meeting different friends from all over New Zealand, Polynesian friends.
As you see, this truck carries a message of peace and harmony. So it's not about winning the World Cup. It's about welcoming everyone, and it carries my message to all the other peoples of the other world to come together in sport instead of fighting wars and all that. Spend your money and come together as one people. We're living in one place called Earth, and we are the citizens of it.
My parents were Baha'i. I was born in a Baha'i faith. So I was brought up there. Oh, it was a really amazing faith to me. Really different from where I was into one. Really different. Even all the Baha'is around were all different compared to the people. I am in New Zealand now. All the family are in New Zealand. I love that men and women are equal. And there is one God. And I love this quotation, truthfulness is the foundation of all human virtues.
Over half of Pacific peoples were born in New Zealand.
Pacific peoples in general are not doing well in terms of their socio-economic status. For instance, their health, their education, their work and their income is not actually good compared to the national average. Our children, for instance, are not doing well at school from the early childhood up to the tertiary level, university and polytech.
The percentage for Pacific peoples aged 15 and over who did not have a formal qualification has remained stable at 35% in 2005.
I think it's also important to understand a number of things. Firstly, the underlying factors. Pacific peoples came to New Zealand in the first place to work at the low income level here in New Zealand society. They came to work in factories and sweep floors of offices and workplaces.
Men of Pacific ethnicity mainly work as labourers at 23%, machinery operators at 21%, and technicians and trade workers at 20%.
The system, both the workplace, the government, the school system, the health system, were not designed for them. In other words, their needs were not met. Over the last 40, 50 years, things have been changing partly with the effort of Pacific leaders to change the system to work for and to include Pacific peoples as well.
The population of Pacific peoples in New Zealand in 1991, 167,000 people. In 2006, 265,000 people.
And now what you find is specific programs in health, in education, in social development that are geared to meet the needs of Pacific peoples.
Just come over here, I'll take a photo of you.
My name is Makaleo Hiva Bass. I am a Tongan. I now live in New Zealand in Auckland, married to a Dutch Kiwi. My ancestors have got a long line of ancestry, not only from Tonga, but also from France and China as well, from my mother's side. I am a second generation Baha'i. My parents became Baha'is in 1969 back in Tonga, and migrated here in the late 70s, and I came here in 1986.
For the last 300-400 years, the development of nations and at the global level has been very much on the needs of the body and the mind. In other words, our emphasis has been on material prosperity, material development, economic and social development.
At least 80% of humanity lives on less than $10 US a day.
And increasingly around the world now, leaders, people of great thinkers and organizations, including the United Nations, are now beginning to realize that the focus on consumerism and materialism is not the answer for the holistic advancement and well-being of humanity.
In the world, there are ongoing international humanitarian operations in approximately 58 countries.
From a Baha'i perspective, these two major aspects of life, material prosperity and spiritual prosperity, are equally important. If we focus too much on material development, we will not be as fully developed as we should be.
Baha'is believe in the elimination of extremes of wealth and poverty. Baha'is believe women and men are equal. Baha'is believe world peace is the crying need of our time. Baha'is believe our economic problems are linked to spiritual problems.
This is of the essence of my command. Therefore turn unto it. O Son of Spirit, ask not of me that which we desire, not for thee. Then be content with what we have ordained for thy sake.
So Pacific peoples have got a lot to offer to society through the spiritual dimension of their cultures. You know, their family-based values, their ability to work together in harmony despite the diversity of society. These are things that Pacific peoples can contribute to New Zealand. And as I mentioned before, the Fono is a vehicle that the Baha'i faith has designed to enable Pacific Baha'is to better themselves materially and spiritually, and offer that as some of the solutions to help their fellow Pacific peoples here in New Zealand.
Hi, my name is Vasatole Fopoliko. I'm originally from Samoa. I am now being in New Zealand for quite some time, and I make New Zealand my home. It is a time where we reflect on the activities that we have been doing over the years.
Anything with teaching. So all we need to do is put it in.
So once a year we do the Pacific Fono, where we come together, share experience, share ideas, and just to get together and have fun.
I became a Baha'i when a youth came from Australia. His name is Rodney Markham. He came over to Tuvalu to teach the Baha'i faith. And I was surprised to call by my grandma to come and interpret what he is saying to her. Then I went in and do the translation. And then I feel in my heart that Baha'u'llah is the manifestation for the day. Then I enrolled myself as a Baha'i. And my family knows about that. And they are quite happy. Weeks after, then my dad became a Baha'i too. And about 2 months, and my mom came in too, then followed my grandfather. So we are the first Baha'i family in Tuvalu.
Friends of the faith are most welcome to attend and be part of our programs. Baha'u'llah's name was introduced to me through my father and through many prayers that we chanted as when I was a child. So growing up, Baha'u'llah plays a very big part in my life because not only I believe in his teachings, and because I was taught by my father to know who Baha'u'llah is, which is the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith for this time and age. One of the many principles that Baha'u'llah laid out for the Baha'i faith, and which is one of my favorite, is the equality of men and women. Because I believe that being raised in Samoa, a small amount of time of my life, women were not so outspoken or be seen as leaders, because we grew up in a society back home where men were the head of the families or leaders of the families, whereas when Baha'u'llah came and brought that one of the most amazing principles about the equality of men and women, I really adore that and I believe in that, because it gave me the freedom to speak my mind and to be more outspoken in issues or experiences that relate to other women, not only young ones but also the older generation, for them to move away from that beliefs where women are to be set in the kitchen or in the background, whereas women should be leaders. After all, they are the first educators of children as well. I believe in the oneness of religion, which means regardless of what religion that we belong to, like the Muslim, the Hindu religion, and the Baha'i faith, I believe, and we do believe, that there is only one God. So all religions should be one, regardless of the names that we're being called.
God is one, man is one, and all the religions are one. Land and sea, hills and valleys, under the beautiful sun.
In Samoa, we have the house of worship for the Pacific Islands, and as you may know, the former head of state of Samoa, Susunga Marietoa Tanumafiri II, was a member of the Baha'i faith, and he provided an era of peace and tranquility to the life and well-being of the Samoan community.
My sincere and warmest expression of thanks goes to the members of the Baha'i faith.
This much blessed house of worship, now opening wide its doors to peoples of all creeds, of all races, of all nations, and of all classes.
This Fono is held here in Manukau, so hopefully there's all the Baha'is from around New Zealand are here. But this particular workshop is to promote and to make sure our young ones remember how the umu is done.
It's like when you come to things like, it's like you've been in the marae, Maori marae, where that feeling comes back to you, really, family feeling, family sort of togetherness. And I guess it relates to the Baha'i faith, everybody being united, no matter what colour you are, what religion you're from. So, as you can see here, it's not only Samoans here, we have Chinese, Europeans, Tongan, Samoan, Tuvalu, Fijians. So that's what it's all about, this fun.
My wife, Tupo, and I, we have 3 wonderful boys. It's wonderful to see the next generation and my family growing up and serving the Baha'i faith and serving society. It's a great opportunity for them to be able to do that.
The thing that I like the Baha'i faith is to do with many different people coming to the Baha'i faith. I see them as coming from different cultural backgrounds, and in the Baha'i faith, it has the principle of unity and diversity. So people is like a flower garden, different colors, but make the beauty of the garden more enriched. So becoming a Baha'i was not too hard for me because my father was a Baha'i. Without saying that, my father did not want us to become a Baha'i because he is a Baha'i. In the Baha'i faith, you have to have your own personal investigation before you become a Baha'i.
I grew up in Aotearoa. I suppose that became a land, or I suppose an environment where we can express ourselves freely, and Mum and Dad quite accept us to look for other avenues on how to live, live a different life, better life, or away from the troublesome social problems that we have been facing as youth. When I grew up, I basically found the Baha'i faith, and that's changed a lot of aspect of my life in regards of the social activities I've been participating in.
I come from a Christian background. My family for many generations serves the church in Tonga, the biggest church in Tonga. That's a wonderful legacy that I really treasure. But as a young man, through my studies and my research, I came across the teachings of the Baha'i faith and its prophet founder, Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah means the glory of God, and he explains very succinctly and clearly and in a very logical, convincing way to me that all the revealed religions of the world actually come from the same source, God. And so that makes sense to me as a person who grew up in a Christian family. And as I mentioned, I studied other cultures, came across the teachings of Buddha and the Buddhist religion, the teachings of Muhammad, Islam. And Baha'u'llah explains these things very clearly to me. Not only all very logical, but more importantly for me, very spiritual. So that mystic connection between you as a human being and your creator exists in all the teachings of these religions in the world. And Baha'u'llah explains that these religions are like chapters of the same book of the religion of God. You cannot find the ultimate complete truth if you just concentrate on one chapter.
Buddhism, hurt not others as you yourself would find hurtful. Judaism, we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Christianity, do unto others as ye would want them to do unto you. Islam, desire for your brother that which ye desire for yourself. Baha'i, blessed is he who prefers his brother before himself. In a world where religious differences is the cause of dissension and strife, isn't it nice to know there is a place where we can all be one?
Another analogy that he uses to explain the connectedness and same purpose of all the religions is that they are classes in the same school. The teachers do not compete. They teach the same curriculum. It's the same purpose for all the students to advance them, mentally and intellectually. In the same way, God has sent his messengers or manifestations of God, as the Baha'is explain it. And their one and same purpose is to teach humanity to know God and to love God and to worship God. And the best way of serving God is actually to serve humanity. Baha'u'llah says that, let your vision be world-embracing, and you contribute to an ever-advancing civilization. And all religions, if you look very closely, they actually are about serving the same purpose, advancing humanity materially and more importantly spiritually. And so I was convinced, and as a young man I accepted the Baha'i faith. And in Tonga there is a school established by the Baha'i faith, the Ocean of Light School, and many children are going there, hundreds, including children of the leaders of society. Education is very important for the Baha'i faith. Education is the means through which you can unravel the mind full of gems in humanity. Education is the ladder to success, according to Baha'u'llah, prophet founder of the Baha'i faith. There is another Baha'i school in Vanuatu.
The reason we run the school is to help the individual develop so that they can contribute to society and the community, and so that the community itself can be raised up and thereby help the individual. Regard man as a mine, rich in gems of inestimable value. Education can alone cause it to reveal its treasures and enable mankind to benefit therefrom.
The Fono started some 16 years ago, and it is our Baha'i response to the socio-economic needs of Pacific peoples in New Zealand. the aim is actually for the Baha'is who are of Pacific ethnic background to come together and look at the strengths and the beauty of their cultures and their knowledge, and together with the teachings of the Baha'i faith, to evolve a way of living that excel both materially and spiritually. And we are now beginning to witness the fruits of that. We now see our children well educated. At the same time, we see them dedicated to the Baha'i faith and its many activities, and also through their professions, they are serving society in New Zealand and other parts of the world. For instance, we now have medical doctors who are Baha'is, we have teachers, we have engineers, we have architects.
It really helps. If you look at the research on children being bilingual, it actually helps you very much to learn if you have at least 2 languages.
So what happens with cholesterol once you eat it? It goes into your liver and then it's dispensed in your blood to be dropped off at the bits of your body that's needed.
The need to improve our health, the need to improve our education, the need to improve our spiritual well-being, the need to strengthen our family life. The Fono is the platform, is the vehicle that has initiated this movement with the blessings of the National Administrative Council of the Baha'i Faith, called the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of New Zealand. Increasingly, more and more people are aware of the contribution that the Baha'i Faith makes to the holistic well-being of Pacific peoples around the region.